I hope you're doing well. Well, if there's one thing that we all learn, just simply observing others. And if you're a parent or grandparent, uh, certainly this is something that you come to recognize quite readily. And that is the fact that people truly do care for themselves. I know we've all met people that are self-deprecating. Perhaps they're people that are, have very poor self-image. I get that, and maybe they shame themselves in various way, or they've been shamed by society. But people, in terms of their basic nature, I'm not saying there aren't exceptions, but exceptions are not the rule. But all people have this incredible ability to care for themselves. And so I heard somebody say recently, it kind of put a little spark in my thought process here when they brought up the speaking to other people, that their ministry was that they're to teach others to love their neighbor as themselves. And the as there, from their viewpoint, meant, that's in Matthew 22 and verse 36 through 38, that as there meant, look, I have to come to know how much I love myself so that I can teach others to love themselves. And I thought, in all honesty, is that what the Lord was truly getting at when he said that? That we need to teach others to love themselves as much as we love ourselves? Or was he trying to teach us something about our nature? There's numerous verses, but I think one that really stands out in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 28 and 33, where a husband is told to love his wife as he does his own body, that no one hates their own body, that, in other words, their desires, their needs, what they want, their appetite, we all have this innate desire to satisfy ourselves. If you read Ecclesiastes in chapter 1 and verse 8, you realize that at least for Solomon, and I think speaking to men, we're insatiable in that way. There's just this incredible desire to satisfy ourselves in whatever way we can find next. But how does that relate to what Jesus was saying there? Love your neighbor as yourself. I think what he was actually saying is that we need to make sure that we love our neighbor and care for them as much as we would care for ourselves. And I believe, as we follow that out in Luke chapter 10, the very similar situation, a lawyer there also asking the question. It could have been the same setting, could have been different viewpoints between Matthew and Luke. But there, Jesus gives an example of a good Samaritan, right? What did he do? He cared for that person that had been beaten up on the road, as he would have himself. What he would have wanted somebody to do for him, he did. I believe that's truly what is meant there in Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 18. I believe why this is the highest personal commandment that we can satisfy, other than love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, your moral compass. It has to be in right relationship with the God that we know and love. But after that, we're to love our neighbors and give them the same respect, care, concern as we do ourselves. And if we do that, and by the way, that includes everybody. We can't belittle some and excuse it because we have a cause, as we spoke last devotional. We can't put a cause above moral values, not in God's economy. So we're to love others as we very easily do ourselves. We make sure that we're fed. We make sure that we are, take care of ourselves. If we can provide for ourselves, we provide for ourselves and others. And the people that are in our sphere of influence, we make sure that we take care of. But self-care. But certainly, teaching a person to have self-care is not what the Lord meant there. What he meant is we love others and make sure that you care for them as much as you care for yourself. Because if you do this, you're truly taking care of other people and not putting yourself above them. Kind of like the example that Jesus Christ, who became a servant, obedient in Philippians 2:6 and on, even to the point of death for you and I. Yeah, kind of like that. And God highly exalted him. So I guess this truly is that great commandment that satisfies us all the commandments, because in doing this, we love our neighbor as much as we love ourselves. We make sure that we care for them as much as we care for ourselves. Then you know what? We're going to be treating people with a great deal of respect, a tremendous amount of kindness, and we're going to do for them what we would hope another would do for us in our time of need. That's a hearty amen. Till next time, friends, God bless you.